Two identical towers, same architect, same materials, same construction crews, built at the same time. But only one of them has killed over 20 people. Only one is haunted. Only one is called cursed. Marina City's twin corncob towers are iconic symbols of Chicago. Designed by visionary architect Bertrand Goldberg and completed in the mid-1960s, they rise 65 stories above the Chicago River. They were revolutionary. The first mixed-use urban residential complex in America. A city within a city. Over 900 apartments, a marina, restaurants, a theater, a bowling alley, and spiral parking garages built right into the towers. They were meant to reverse white flight and bring people back downtown. And they succeeded. But something is wrong with the East Tower at 300 North Street. During construction on September 15, 1961, 3 carpenters plummeted 43 floors to their deaths when the scaffold they were standing on simply gave way inside the tower's concrete core. That same year, 6 more workers were badly injured when another elevator malfunctioned. In 1962, worker William Jones was stricken by a dizzy spell on a scaffold at the 40th floor. He fell to his death on the State Street Bridge below. But the deaths didn't stop after construction ended. Between 1966 and 1976, a string of deaths occurred in the East Tower. Suicides, murders, unexplained falls, all in the East Tower, never the West. In 1966, real estate developer Roy Holland was found dead in his 48th floor apartment. He had been dead for 3 weeks. In 1972, 25-year-old Gloria Kirkpatrick, manager of the Marina City Theater, was stabbed to death. Her murder was never solved. In 1976, Kenneth Parvin fell to his death from the 57th floor. Accident? Suicide? Murder? No one knows. And then there are the reports. Residents seeing full-body apparitions, shadow figures moving through hallways, electronics malfunctioning without explanation, sudden icy drafts in sealed apartments, overwhelming feelings of depression, dread, and oppression. Paranormal investigators document ghostly orbs and disembodied voices, all in the East Tower. The West Tower, just 100 feet away, has virtually no reports, no unusual death patterns, no hauntings. This is the story of Marina City's East Tower, the cursed corncob, and the question that no one has ever answered: why only one? In the late 1950s, Chicago was dying from the inside. White flight was accelerating. Middle-class families were abandoning the downtown core for the suburbs.
The loop was emptying out at night. Businesses were struggling. The city needed a solution. Architect Bertrand Goldberg believed he had one. Goldberg was born in Chicago in 1913. He studied at the Bauhaus in Germany under Ludwig Mies van der Rohe. But Goldberg rejected the rigid rectangular forms of the international style. He believed in organic architecture, curves, circles, forms inspired by nature. He thought buildings should be designed for humans, not for efficiency. In 1959, Goldberg proposed Marina City. His vision was radical. 2 identical cylindrical residential towers rising 65 stories, shaped like corncobs with petal-shaped balconies radiating from a central core. The lower 18 floors of each tower would contain spiral parking garages. Above that, over 900 apartments. At the base, a marina with slips for boats, restaurants, shops, a theater, a bowling alley, an ice rink. Everything residents needed without leaving the complex. A self-contained city within the city. Goldberg's goal was simple: make downtown living so attractive that people would choose to stay. The project was financed largely by the Building Service Employees International Union, a union of janitors and elevator operators. They wanted to prove that downtown living could be viable. Construction began in 1961. The towers would be made of reinforced concrete, not steel. This allowed for the fluid, curved design, but it also created engineering challenges. The central core of each tower, containing elevators and utilities, acted as the structural spine. The floors radiated out from this core like petals. It was a bold, unprecedented design. And from the very beginning, workers noticed something strange about the East Tower.
Construction of Marina City was grueling and dangerous. The concrete had to be poured continuously as the towers rose. Workers operated in shifts around the clock. The circular design created unique challenges. There were no flat walls, no right angles. Every floor was wedge-shaped. Balconies cantilevered out from the core without additional support. This required precise engineering and perfect execution. Any mistake could be catastrophic. On September 15, 1961, Homer Fields, age 33, Wallace Kumpula, age 42, and James Toner, age 24, were working inside the core of the East Tower. They were carpenters, building forms for the concrete. They stood on a scaffold elevator, a platform suspended by cables that moved up and down inside the tower's hollow center. The tower had reached approximately 43 floors. It would eventually rise to 65. At some point that afternoon, the scaffold gave way. The 3 men plummeted 43 stories. They died instantly when they hit the bottom of the core. The investigation blamed equipment failure.
The cables snapped, or the platform collapsed. Accidents happen on construction sites, but workers began whispering. Why did it happen in the East Tower? Why not the West, which was being built at the same time using identical equipment? Some workers refused to go inside the East Tower's core after that. They said it felt wrong, cold, oppressive.
The deaths didn't stop. That same year, 6 workers were badly injured when another elevator inside the East Tower malfunctioned and plummeted. A 7th worker was injured trying to help them. In 1962, William Jones, a construction worker, was on a scaffold at the 40th floor of the East Tower. He was struck by a sudden dizzy spell. He lost his balance and fell. His body landed on the State Street Bridge far below. 3 construction deaths in the East Tower within 2 years. The West Tower had 0. By 1964, the residential towers were complete. The complex officially opened in 1967, though residents had been moving in for years. Marina City was an instant success. The apartments were small, averaging just 500 square feet, but they were affordable and located in the heart of downtown. Young professionals, artists, and students flocked to the complex. The circular balconies offered stunning views of the Chicago River and skyline. The marina became a hub of activity. The theater hosted performances. The bowling alley was packed. Goldberg's vision had worked. But residents of the East Tower began noticing something, a feeling, a heaviness. Some described it as depression that set in shortly after moving in. Others felt constantly watched. Electronics would malfunction. Televisions would turn on by themselves. Lights would flicker. And some residents swore they saw figures, shadows, people who weren't there.
The first major death in the completed East Tower occurred in August 1966. Roy Holland, a real estate developer, lived alone in a 48th floor apartment. Neighbors hadn't seen him in weeks. When building management finally entered his unit, they found his body. He had been dead for 3 weeks. 3 suicide notes were found. Holland had taken his own life. But neighbors reported strange details. They had heard sounds from his apartment during the 3 weeks he was supposedly dead. Footsteps, voices, movement. Some believe Holland's spirit never left. On May 5, 1972, 25-year-old Gloria Kirkpatrick was murdered. Gloria lived on the 39th floor of the East Tower. She was the manager of the Marina Theater, located at the base of the complex. That evening, she was stabbed to death outside the building. Her murder was never solved. No suspects were ever arrested. To this day, her killer remains unknown. Residents and theater workers began reporting sightings of a young woman in the hallways near the 39th floor. Always alone, always silent. She would appear briefly and then vanish. In January 1976, Kenneth Parvin, aged 25, fell to his death from a 57th floor apartment in the East Tower.
His body landed on Marina City Drive, the narrow road between the two towers. Police couldn't determine if it was an accident, suicide, or foul play. The apartment belonged to someone else, and Parvin wasn't supposed to be there. What happened that night remains a mystery. By the late 1970s, the East Tower had developed a reputation. Real estate agents warned potential renters. Some residents moved out after only a few months, unable to shake the oppressive feeling. Others stayed, but reported increasingly strange experiences. Cold spots that appeared without explanation, doors that would slam shut on their own, whispers in empty hallways, and the figures, always in the periphery, shadowy forms that moved just out of sight.
Paranormal investigators became interested in Marina City. Multiple groups conducted investigations in the East Tower over the years. They documented unusual electromagnetic readings, temperature drops of 10 to 15 degrees in specific areas. EVP recordings captured voices saying, "Help me," and "Get out." Investigators also reported feeling sudden overwhelming sadness, especially near the higher floors where deaths had occurred. One investigator described it as walking through a wall of grief. But here's the strangest detail. The West Tower, identical in every way, has virtually no paranormal reports, no unusual death patterns, no oppressive feelings. Residents of the West Tower report normal experiences, happy lives. The only documented death in the West Tower was a natural causes situation in the 1980s. Meanwhile, the East Tower's death toll continued to climb. Falls, suicides, unexplained incidents. By some estimates, over 20 people have died in or from the East Tower since construction began. Theories abound. Some believe the East Tower was built on cursed ground. Others point to the violent construction deaths as creating a residual haunting. The 3 carpenters who fell 43 floors in 1961 may have left an imprint on the structure. Paranormal researchers call this a residual haunting, traumatic events leaving an energetic echo that replays over time. But that doesn't explain why subsequent deaths continued to occur. Residual hauntings don't cause new deaths, they're just recordings. Another theory involves the architecture itself. The circular design creates acoustic anomalies. Sounds bounce and echo in unexpected ways. The wedge-shaped apartments have no right angles, which some psychologists believe can cause subtle disorientation and anxiety over time. Humans evolved in environments with natural lines and patterns. Living in a space with constant curves may trigger subconscious stress. But again, this doesn't explain why only the East Tower is affected. The West Tower has the same design. Some residents believe something happened during construction that opened a door. The 3 deaths inside the core, the dizzy spell that caused William Jones to fall. Perhaps those traumatic events created a spiritual opening. Or perhaps the East Tower, for reasons no one understands, simply attracts tragedy.
Marina City was fully completed in 1968. Bertrand Goldberg's vision had been realized. The complex stood as a testament to bold architectural thinking and urban renewal. Over the decades, Marina City became a cultural icon. The towers appeared in films, television shows, and countless photographs. They became synonymous with Chicago's skyline. Tourists visited to admire the unique design. Architecture students studied Goldberg's work. But the East Tower's dark reputation never faded. Real estate turnover in the East Tower remained consistently higher than in the West Tower. Some residents stayed for years without incident. Others fled within months. Building management stopped acknowledging the deaths publicly. They didn't want to scare away potential renters. But word spread. Online forums and paranormal websites documented the East Tower's history. Urban explorers and ghost hunters added Marina City to their lists of Chicago's most haunted locations. Bertrand Goldberg never publicly commented on the deaths or hauntings. He died in 1997. His architectural legacy is secure. Marina City remains one of the most innovative residential complexes ever built. But the question lingers. Did Goldberg know about the East Tower's problems? Did he believe in the curse? Or did he dismiss it as superstition?
Today, Marina City continues to thrive. The complex has been renovated and modernized. The theater is now the House of Blues, a popular music venue. The marina still operates. Residents still live in the towers, paying premium prices for the iconic address. But the East Tower's reputation persists. Current residents report the same phenomena that past residents described decades ago. Shadows, cold spots, electronics malfunctioning, feelings of being watched. In 2023, a paranormal investigation team conducted a multi-day investigation in the East Tower with permission from several residents. They documented dozens of anomalies. Electromagnetic spikes near the 39th floor where Gloria Kirkpatrick lived. Extreme cold spots on the 48th floor where Roy Holland died. And inside the stairwell near the core where the 3 carpenters fell, investigators reported hearing distant screams and the sound of something heavy falling. The West Tower remains quiet. No hauntings, no unusual deaths. 2 identical structures, one cursed, one fine. Why? Skeptics argue that confirmation bias explains everything. People expect the East Tower to be haunted, so they interpret normal events as paranormal. Cognitive psychology shows that suggestion is powerful. If you're told a place is haunted, you're more likely to notice ambiguous stimuli and assign them supernatural meaning. But this doesn't explain the concentration of actual deaths. Over 20 documented fatalities in one tower versus virtually none in the other. That's not confirmation bias, that's a pattern. Others point to geological factors. Perhaps the East Tower sits on ground with different mineral composition or underground water flow, creating subtle environmental differences. But no geological survey has ever found evidence of this. The 2 towers are less than 100 feet apart. The ground beneath them is essentially identical.
Marina City's East Tower remains one of Chicago's most enigmatic buildings. Iconic, beautiful, revolutionary, and haunted. Over 20 deaths, dozens of paranormal reports, and no satisfactory explanation. The three carpenters who fell 43 stories in 1961. Gloria Kirkpatrick, stabbed to death in 1972, her murder unsolved. Kenneth Parvin, who fell from the 57th floor in 1976. Roy Holland dead for 3 weeks before anyone found him, and countless others whose stories never made the news. What makes the East Tower different? Why does tragedy concentrate there? Is it residual trauma from the construction deaths? Is it the circular architecture creating psychological strain? Or is it something deeper, something unexplained? The West Tower stands as a control group. Same design, same materials, no hauntings. The scientific method demands an explanation, but none exists. If you want to uncover more stories of American infrastructure hiding dark secrets, subscribe to Hidden America. Next time, we'll explore the Silver Bridge collapse in West Virginia and the mysterious Mothman sightings that preceded it. We'll investigate the paranormal warnings, the structural failure that killed 46 people, and the question that still haunts Point Pleasant. Was the Mothman trying to warn them? Subscribe now for more hidden infrastructure stories. And remember, sometimes two identical buildings aren't identical at all. Sometimes one of them is watching, waiting, and counting the dead.